Either way, they do favor the Kazakhstanis ever so slightly.
So I actually think that those loot bet odds are specific for Train instead of specific for the series. So I guess the majority of bettors expecting a 2-0 here. But obviously, Train is very much up in the air. We know how confident Fate can often be. It depends if they can actually hit all of these shots early. And thus far, it's the USPSs chipping and chiming in. Kado actually gets away with that one. Still alive onto the B site. And the Glocks just cannot chase. Instead, same wailing back to A, as they've got to break these crossfires once again. Norba's the overseer of all of this action. USPS in hands drops down. That's a mistake. P250 edging closer, but not connecting with any of these preliminary headshots. Allows the USPSs to get some damage done. That drops to C4, precarious spot. A couple of these players incredibly low. Patrick wants to chip in once again. Here comes the flank, though. Kios has a majority of the information. Spots like both of these T's actually getting found out. Doesn't hit the shot. And now this gets dangerous and damaging. Patrick's up to 3. Cade between the action, and Patrick finds him for 4. That's a pistol for Fate. And a great start.
All falling on the shoulders of Patrick there, and he manages to find himself 4 kills when he's backed into a corner like that. That's super unfortunate from Kios. He's right up behind. He has an absolute guaranteed free kill there. He just tries to go for the trigger discipline. He gets caught out for it. Fate managed to put that first pistol round on the board. It was definitely close. But those P250s managed to do tons and tons of damage early on, and it meant that they were just able to tip it over the edge with those Glocks right at the end. It is really interesting, you mentioned actually with those odds just being on Train, that not only are the bettors favouring a 2-0 here, but actually this is a very, very strong map for Fate. So to expect this map to go in K23's favour definitely is an ambitious decision to make. Mars going to open things up with a nice headshot. Neelan does actually bounce it right back the other way. But he should get mowed down here, and this should open up the bomb site for Fate. I actually have no idea how he's still alive.
Really particular start for Norba through the smoke. He's going to stab Patrick out of the equation. Pretty much ends the second round as Mo's able to connect. Really startling stuff. Fate caught off balance. They weren't watching the flanks right there. Just look how insanely close Norba gets. And he's caught with a knife out and nevertheless gets away with the surprise. Shanky shank. It's 1-1.
That was so bizarre. He was next to that smoke. They knew he was there. And then when that smoke dissipated, he wasn't there. And then rather than actually saying, right, okay, there's literally only one place he can be, and that is he cracked back through the smoke and went up the ramp. They tried to backtrack and go to A and just neglect the fact that that's where he'd be. And it certainly cost them. Not only does he find both kills, he actually gets a knife kill, which gives him tons of money coming into this round. Allows him to drop a rifle and, well, actually,
this is going to be a meeting aid. Watch this. This is the full meat sandwich, Jay. This is proper tuna, beef, lamb, all of the meat. Here it comes. Ba-boom! Like 200 damage. Cade is even able to follow up. Look at all of this HP taken away. What a round from K23.
The Scout even being upgraded to that AK right at the end there as well. We've talked about this a few times. It's arguably so much worse to win your pistol round and then lose the second, especially if you're going to force up into the following round, just because then if you lose it, you end up going 3-1 down before you can pull a buyout, which is really, really difficult situation to be in. You, of course, don't get that loss bonus that you normally start off with if you lose that pistol round. It means that Fate now are just going to be on a full eco. I assume they just get completely shut down here with these Glocks. Best they can really hope for is maybe a bomb plant, but I'd expect that to happen over on the B site if it was going to, and well, that's not where they're headed for now.
That's definitely a really good point there about if you win the pistol and then lose the follow-up, it's doubly bad. For K23, it actually gives them 2 opportunities to get pretty, like, just rollover rounds here. Firstly, against the Force buy in the 3rd, and then obviously just converting with all of the pistols in the 4th as well. So there's actually a bonus for the CT side as well when they win that 2nd, where like Fate, that they're forced to go for the force buy. That's probably one that you're going to survive with 4 or 5 players on. And this is an opportunity where you're not expecting to drop anybody. That bomb is nowhere near the B-bomb site, so no opportunity for a plant. And where are the kills coming from? This is going to be another flawless round for K23, and that just builds on what you're talking about, where there's just no opportunity to whittle down the economy. A chance that this AWP does go down in a way, but no conversion. The Deagle's able to finish it. And K23, when you total it and tally it up, they only lose a total of 1 player across all of those conversion rounds. Really powerful stuff.
It absolutely is, and it means that they have plenty of money behind them as well going into round number 5. Fate are going to buy up here. Han has got that all-important AWP, but there's a severe lack of utility on a lot of these players. There's money for it as well, so I'm surprised they haven't gone for more. Like, Nicky has got money behind him to buy up more than just that single smoke, but instead they're just opting for what they have here. And this pure aggression from this AK. The flash is perfect, and Kado's able to find 3. Mo chips in as well. And Ma, he's able to pick up the pieces a little, but the bomb's out in no man's land. Mo's going to shut him down. And what a fantastic round from K23 to convert. Quite frankly, I have no idea what Fate were doing there. They didn't buy properly, in my mind, and they just went for a super aggressive B play. That was a real throwaway of a round, and now they're just back onto another eco. That was very bizarre.
What is the way out for Fate in this? A tactical timeout to decipher exactly what they want to do in this one, but with the money polarized, they can't ordinarily go for an investment here in the 6th. I think it will just be a couple of deagles. I could see a chance for Nicky to drop a couple of pistols here and give Fate a little something to work with, a little bit of a midday bonus. Realistically, this is going to be another shutaway performance for K23. They've barely dropped a man. When you look at the kills that have come through, only... What is that? Let's tally it up. Oh, no, it's gone. My maths wasn't quick enough, Jay. I guess we'll have to get back to that after the round. I wanted to total up all of the K23 deaths, but I'm sure that we'll get it. I'm sure that it's not more than 7, though, which means with 5 players going down in the pistol, Fate haven't found more than 2 kills in the next 4 rounds. And you see what that means for the K23 economy. They've built it up, it's snowballed, and this is where they should be able to bully Fate out of this half. They'll have back-to-back buy rounds. There's no opportunity for an eco, and these nades, there's flashes. It's just adding insult to injury here. Keels looks incredibly consistent with the M4A4, just punching in so much damage. Where are the kills coming from for Fate? Like, I guess that's one, but these Deagles need to do a whole lot more to keep the money down. It's just not happening right now for the underdogs. A minute left and M4 retrieved, but what is Mar going to do with it?
Oh, such limited HP as well. He has got the Kevlar behind him, and Nicky on somewhat of a pincer might be able to find himself one. They are becoming increasingly more aware. In fact, no, they're not at all. He should be able to find at least a freebie onto Norbert here, possibly more, as he's playing very disciplined right here as Mars found that kill onto Neelan. This actually opens up this A-bomb site potentially, but not going to happen. Mo swings out of nowhere with that Deagle, shuts that one down and puts K23's 5th on the board. It definitely was a costly round, but they've got 10k on some of these players, and as they retain that AWP, they only need to reinvest the rifles. They might even go for a double AWP setup here. I wouldn't be surprised if they do so. In fact, that's not going to be the case. They just go for the rifles, keep that single AWP on Mo. Definitely the most confident AWPer on that side, and K23 just continue to snowball here. They've been absolutely fantastic. What's really come into my mind is these support players throwing these flashes. Anytime they want to get aggressive, there's no over-aggression from K23 where there's no support player there. There's always a flash to get them in. There's always a flash to get them out. That's what we saw perfectly last round from Keels. That's what we're seeing here again. The flash to get him in. Once it starts to wear off, Keels has got smoke in his hand, and if he spots anyone here, he's going to throw that smoke and take that huge chunk of map control. The same goes over towards A main as well. Look at this. Neelan's right behind enemy lines, and Fate are forced miles back.
It's just relentless aggression. How do Fate actually execute onto this A bomb site with Ivy and A main firmly under K23 control? Just don't think it's possible. They have to dig and burrow out Neelan. And even then, they've only got one prong of this attack covered. You see the flashes just threatening Fate backwards. They're waiting for this push, but it's not coming. K23 are cleverly not overextending here. They've got all of these main choke points completely under full guard. Blocker, there's a first. Let's bring it back in Fate's favor, and I guess that's the mistake they were waiting for.
It might just be. Gives them that man advantage. Oh, Keel's bounced it right back, and Nilan. Oh, it can be so dangerous when you go for that double drop in Pop Dog. Especially when there's a player playing right in there. He gets that spray control on point, and you're both going to fall. That's exactly what happens. A glimmer of hope for Fate at the start of this round, but it slips away as Nilan's able to find two. This bomb should actually go down here. It is going to be denied, though. Kado completely denies Nicky of that one. Finds himself a second as well. K23 are just continuing to apply pressure here, assert their dominance, and Fate just can't pull anything into this one. Not even a bomb plant allowed. And look at this again from Nilan. Absolutely perfect counter-strike.
This is just a send to all reply there from K23. Of course, go and check out Hellcase. If you like all that malarkey, please be over 18 if you like doing that. The code on your screen right there. You can also check the links over in the Twitch chat as well. We're posting them out every now and again with that code, Malta B15. Another tactical timeout for Fate before we get back into the action here. See, this isn't going to be much of a buy, I don't think. I certainly just prefer Deagles, a couple of sets of Kevlar as well. Very minimalistic investment here in round number 8. K23 have everything set up to deal with this one. The AWP on Mo, look at all of that money built up as well. Norber is the only player sub $3,500, and they've almost got a pair of players up to 5 figures here on the CT side. This means triple investments. I don't see Fate closing down this economy anytime soon unless they actually win an eco like this. They've got to win back-to-back rounds. In all fairness, it's just not happening right now. Look at this shutdown once again, tripling up those opening frags. Blocker gets caught through that smoke. Nob with another one, and that Nahid is going to say nighty-night to Mart. The pre-fire comes through, doesn't connect. And he is history. 7-1. K23 not slowing down, instead just getting started on this CT side as that economy further snowballs. Mo Cade up to $12,000 and $13,000 a piece. That's residual cash, Jay, after the investment. Going to stay up here until Fate find 2 or 3 back-to-back rounds.
I often talk about this in so many of these games. These rounds have to be turning points. This is a full investment for Fate. If they can convert this one and string together a few off of it, they can still have a decent half. If they let this one slip, they're back down to another eco. K23 can just continue to steamroll here. They should be able to put themselves probably up to 9-1 if they can win this round. And at that scoreline, you really have nothing left in the tank to pull back into it. Norbert's opened things up early on. I actually really like this angle over on Ivy. Norbert's even looking for more. There's no way they expect Keos up on that boost. And he can even drop down, throw that smoke and fall back with the support from Mo on that orb. Perfect, perfect stuff. And this is the thing, this is what I was saying about before. They go for this aggression, but it's never just this uncoordinated over-aggression where someone just pushes in, tries to get a kill, and half the time gets caught out. Every single time, it's a flash goes in, you maybe get a boost come in, or you get aggressive, you find that kill, and then the support player's there to give you an avenue to get out of that angle. Norbert right in the back line is just going to be able to shut out this final kill. Actually, all 5 players staying alive from K23 in that buy round as they just completely dominate it. And Fate, again, they're probably just going to be down to the pistols here. This is another opportunity for K23 to put an easy round on the board.
Another tactical timeout for Fate. That's 3 used thus far. And we're barely a third of the way through this potential map. They're running out of chances on this T side. They need to get the shutdown right here, right now. And even just taking 1 or 2 rounds probably wouldn't be good enough. Getting up to 8-3. We know that the Fate CT side on Train is actually pretty good, but they have to have something to work with. Otherwise, this is going to be a very one-sided map. K23 obviously looking incredibly comfortable here in this series. It's only going to get worse for Fate. We've got Overpass coming up next. K23's home map. We did see them handed a loss on Overpass against Wisla Krakow in the 9-5-3. That was the opening match. But in a best of one, when you're only playing a single map in one whole day, I don't know. Sometimes you come into those sort of scenarios quite cold. Looks like a reset round here, Jay. Definitely doesn't look live.
And Patrick's looking rather AFK. Something to touch upon. We mentioned in the pre-game, Blocker and Hahn absolutely have to show up.
Oh.
And look at this. Hahn's 0 and 9. Blocker's 2 and 9. You certainly can't blame them for Fate's performances so far, because it's certainly been a team effort. But with these two players not showing up, putting up those massive numbers that they normally would be on a T side of Train, there's definitely a huge detriment.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, to be perfectly frank. We're almost 10 rounds in as well. They've found 0.1 kills per round between the two of them. That's pretty weak.
I'm very, very surprised by K23's performance right now. I wasn't expecting it to be this one-sided. It's obviously still early days. We're only potentially a third of our way through the game. But if K23 keep this up, I think it might be over and done with a whole lot quicker, especially continuing this momentum going onto a map like Overpass that is their pick. It's their home territory, as you say. If they can get this one done, maybe a 16-5, 16-6, which is currently, considering Fate's current performance, very much on the cards. I think they almost certainly take Overpass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whilst this is, of course.
But when I actually dig into the stats here, their all-time win-losses here on Train, we're talking about K23 now, is 14-8. When I want to dig a little deeper into that history, they've only got one map in recent records, which was just a very CT-sided affair against Movistar Riders. Actually, just a 9-4 final half to close it out on that CT side. So nice offensive stuff, but doing a decent job on the T side as well, all things considered, Jay. 8-7 against a side like Movistar Riders as well is definitely pretty good, but I only have the stats in front of me for one single map. That's not too surprising, considering a lot of these teams have taken a break as of late. I'd be expecting those stats to be running a little bit light as of this tournament, but K23 are definitely the headlining team in this group. Let's see if they can join Navi Junior, Hellraisers, Spirit, and Apex in the quarterfinals. 8-1. Another full buy, of course, for the CTs. This is going to be a little bit of a running gun for Fate. Mac 10 here and there. Lots and lots of pistols. Not really a full, wholesome buy. And once again, Kios applying pressure on Ivy. I feel like this might even be the weak point of the K23 defense. He's playing exceptionally aggressive towards this Ivy angle. And this is an opportunity for an opening. I think if Fate had dug their heels into the VODs, they'd have probably seen that he likes to play Ivy all on his lonesome, and it might just be a weak point in this defense. I guess if he gets taken down 1 or 2 times, then he starts to fall back, he turtles down onto these sites, becomes less of a threat towards that side of the map, but that's what you've got to be doing. Finding these aggressive prods, punishing them for that aggression, and just slow them down and hunker them away. He's been getting away with murder towards this side of the map, and Fate just have not been punishing him. So I think a VOD review here or there wouldn't have gone amiss. And Kios has been doing the same thing every round. Remember, those flashes have been incredibly prevalent. And here comes the A push as a response.
Oh, they're just completely mowing this one away. Hahn is able to find himself one. That's actually going to be his first kill of the game. He gets a bullet straight in his head in return. You know how you know that this team are dominating right now? Mo's actually got 31 points of armor, which means that he's stayed alive for so many rounds in a row for that to chip down. That's something you like never see. He's not even rebuying it either. It's just 31 points of Kevlar. That's fine. I've got 16k in the bank, but I'm just going to sit on this.
How many points of armor do you need? That's the big question.
I'm actually not sure. I remember asking this question before, and I think someone said it was around 30.
Is that when you reinvest? Is that when you bite the bullet and say, hey, I'll just give it? He's literally at max cash anyway. I don't think he's going to be too hard pressed. He would, if he bought full armor right now, he would actually still be on max cash, even if they lost this round. He would be at 15,800 after a loss. So a little bit of mental maths for you there. Maybe it makes sense, but I guess he's playing this on like challenge mode. You see that 31 armor. Don't know if I'd be this ballsy as well, but with the AWP, maybe you can afford it. You wouldn't even mind the glass cannon. Turn up the difficulty setting a bit. Look how powerful these nades are. The flash is completely rendering Patrick in blocker blind and completely useless up in heaven. There's the flank taken care of. And this bomb, is it even going to go down here? Mo is being forced back into the open, but there is a crossfire at the ready, and Nikki always right between them. There comes the swing. Another frag comes through, and plenty of time to execute this retake here. There goes the flashbang, and this one should be history for Mar, trying to tap bullets inwards. Norba finishes him. That's double digits for K23.
That was quite comical at the end there. Norbert threw a fantastic flashbang, and if it hadn't have flashed himself, it would have been a free kill, but he jumped the gun a little and peeked right into it. Both players just kind of staring at each other, flashed for a good 5 or 6 seconds there, but nonetheless, K23 take that round with relative ease. The bomb will go down for Fate, which means that on top of their loss bonus, which is its absolute maximum right now, they are going to be able to fully invest into this one. They've actually lost 10 in a row. If you remember correctly, they won the pistol round, and that was it. They haven't done anything since that. They've actually had very little impact whatsoever, converting very few kills. Now they try and bounce back with pure aggression. Patrick, he's got himself right into sandwich early on. He's tracing these smokes from Nilan as the flash goes through. Patrick's going to capitalize. There's no way Nilan expects him to be so close, but Mo responds with an AWP shot and it levels out the numbers.
Another 4 versus 4. Fate finally breaking onto A. Another headshot to collapse onto this defense. And Arcade wants to trade one more. It is actually falling apart finally for the CTs, as Mo forced into a fairly difficult situation in the form of the 1 versus 3. There's the opener. Needs to convert. What a shot. Back to the Deagle. And he's unable to connect. A second for Fate on the board, as that one finally closes down. That's what I want to see from them, Jay. A little bit of speed, aggression, momentum onto this A bomb site. It finally works out. They trade those frags. Bomb goes down and the conversion comes through. That's just balls to the wall strategy on the A bomb site, and it works out perfectly. Obviously doesn't force any form of eco out of K23, who have taken almost 10 on the trot. Instead, the double AWP setup comes out. The yin to Fate's yang as we get into round number 13.
Han taking tons of damage from that Molotov. You're absolutely right, though. That aggression from Fate last round worked really, really well. Patrick was just fantastic there, getting right into sandwich, taking that initial engagement. It gives him that man advantage. Just unfortunate that Mo couldn't connect that second shot. I'm not sure if it was a leg shot or if it actually just caught the player out through the corner of the train. Either way, if that had converted, would have gone into a 1v1, an opportunity for him to clutch it out. And if it had done so, I think that would have just been it for Fate. The most demoralizing thing that can happen to you besides being 10-1 down, I suppose, on your own map pick. Blocker at the top of this ladder. Just a patience game. Norbert's played super aggressive in Pop Dog quite a few times, though, so they're certainly expecting him to be there. The issue is they're taking their sweet time to take any control.
Gotta say, this is a little disappointing from Fate on their home map here. They are playing against one of the favorites in this whole tournament in the form of K23. I can't be too critical. Once again, they head towards A, but with the bomb dropped, 20 seconds on the clock. Time becomes a real issue in the 4 versus 5, and K23 are just here. All 5 players elected on this A bomb site, and they're hitting all of the shots. The AWP in the hands of Han has to fall back, and this is a bad peak to go for. Actually gives away his position, and doing damage doesn't really matter this late in the half. He needs to hide, and there's not a lot of seconds in the round. He does just about get away with it. Remember, he's left with 50 bucks in the bank, Jay. That's even less than I have. 11-2. K23, a big decisive lead going on to this second half. But with 2 rounds remaining, Fate and 11-4 is possible. I guess the road back is through this CT side. We know that this is a very defensive-heavy map. Probably the most in the whole pool. And Keel's going to get aggressive again. He's got the AWP in hand this time. I did say this is where the potential weakness comes from in K23. Just unfortunate that Fate haven't figured that one out as of yet. Heading towards the B bomb site, which, funnily enough, K23 have dispatched of this take many a time.
Well, they seem to be ready and waiting for this B push. And look at this setup. Kado's able to find that first. Mo bounces right back, and a fantastic grenade's going to deal tons of damage onto Blocker. Han with this AWP absolutely needs to connect these shots, and as the flash comes through, he's forced off the angle, has to repeat, and Keels with that secondary sniper is going to capitalize on it. A 4 versus 2 now. There's no real chance for them to come back into this one. They get completely shut down. And K23, that was absolutely flawless. They had 2 players over towards that B site. They find the opening 2 picks. Mo stays alive, and then they get the retake in, and they execute it perfectly. 12-2 now, K23 sit, with an opportunity to get to 13-2, which would be incredibly dominant, especially on their opponent's map pick.
It definitely would. Going back to that retake for a second, the utility there was just flawless from K23. You see the initial HE whiz in. Blocker takes tons and tons of damage. Han then forced off the angle, a flurry of flashes. When he goes back to repeat, there's already 2 players holding the angle. He gets instantly taken down. And then another flurry of utility just to end the half practically there. 12-2. Opportunity for a third. Unfortunately, that smoke doesn't work out for Mo. But K23, they're not wasting any of this utility here. They're keeping at least a couple of flashes and HEs in hand for these retake scenarios, and it's working out perfectly. We know that the retakes, especially on train, are incredibly difficult. They're touch and go, to say the best. If you've got a smoke and a nade here and there to be the difference maker, it does put you at somewhat of an advantage. Neelam misses a couple of shots, and this does open up for Fate.
Well, he does miss a couple of shots. He deals loads of damage in the meantime. That's a real whiff, though, from Kado. Keels with this AWP. He has been spotted out. He is actually going to convert the kill. What on earth was that? I thought he almost certainly falls there. He gets tagged down to 6 HP, but him and Mo with these AWPs could actually get the work done here. Patrick's super low as well. The real issue is this utility. There's nothing left for Fate except that single flashbang, and they're actually throwing in that Molotov. They're going to smoke the bomb. They might even go for this. If this AWP shot comes through, they might be able to convert this one. Patrick runs through the fire. What on earth is that? How do Fate win that round?
They don't. K23 win it.
Sorry, how did K23 win that round?
It's confusing, to say the least. Just mistake after mistake, in K23 playing some flawless Counter-Strike there. The peaks come through at the wrong time all over this map, and pretty much a flawless half here, with the exception of the pistol going Fate's way. K23 with a complete and utter shutdown. I just don't see any way back into this one. See the Molotov go down at the right time, even finding that last kill. This adds insult to injury here in the retake scenario. That was a 2 versus 4, Jay.
Not just a 2 versus 4, but actually Keels should have just been taken down there. Just so easily. That was such a free kill. They spotted him crossing, like, as the smoke dissipated. He's got right out in the open with a AWP in his hands, and that was just a free kill for that rifle. Completely whiffed, got him down to 6 HP, and he actually managed to convert the kill, find himself a second as well, and turn the tides in that round for K23. As I said, 13-2. I just don't see this slipping away. If they take the pistol round, then they absolutely just close it out in probably 3 or 4, and I think that's going to have a detrimental effect on Fate's mentality going into Overpass. If they lose the pistol round, Fate might be able to pull back a few rounds. I think K23 still almost certainly take this one. I'm interested to see what the odds are going into the second half.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
No, it's not going to be close. I think it's going to be a solid 1 to 10 maybe. Not sure.
I'm going to say 1 to 17.
1 to 17. Does it go higher than 10? Do odds go higher than 10 times?
I've seen it higher than 10.
Oh, I only said 10 because I thought that's as high as it went, and I was going to look like a genius when it pops up on the screen.
No.
You must just get like just decimal points on the penny from every dollar you bet on K23 in this map right now. If you bet like £1 million, you get £1,000,001 back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's worth it.
I
don't think I'd ever go for that.
No, I just can't see it. I don't think it's the sort of investment Bill Gates would be putting his money into. Warren Buffett sort of investment. I don't think so. Maybe if you were crazy, you would bet on Fate to bring this back. I guess it's a CT side. I would probably have the vodka at the ready.
Well, we're no stranger to it. It's happened before. We've seen it. We even saw it the other day in that Dust 2 game. Even the Forza Copenhagen Flames game going the full distance after what was it a 12-3 or a 13-2 half? Came all the way back and went 16-14. It definitely happens sometimes.
I
but
mean,
K23
Jay,
are just...
If you did have the vodka ready, you'd be hitting more shots than Nikki right now. But I mean, I feel bad because I do love these Fate guys. I do feel bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to hate on them too much. They've really shown promise in recent games and stuff like that. They're such a fantastic side.
One of my favorite teams to watch. I might even go as far to say, at this level of play, I think Fate are my favorite team to watch. Personally, they just haven't been able to bring anything to K23 in this particular series, in this map.
Wow, here are the... Oh.
What?
Okay.
They're not right. Let's fix those. That's not correct. Surely. Come on.
Maybe people are placing bets on Fate.
They're just trying to prove me wrong?
Wicked analysis. Or maybe it's that. Maybe it's that.
Was it my shot joke? Somebody was like, F this. I'm going to put just $500 on Fate. Prove you wrong.
Yeah. Tip those odds.
These are pretty good odds, I would say.
Well, Patrick, he's been spotted out. They've actually taken a fair amount of damage early on. They've given up tons of control as well. K23 right up behind Fate already. They're already on this A site. Han only good for 1 headshot there. Not going to be allowed a whole lot more than this. Nicky is actually going to land himself another, but the bomb's going to go down. A 3-on-1, and they're just toying with him at this point. Nothing left in this round for him. K23, they'll be able to convert this pistol round 14-2.
Yeah, you get 20 cents on the dollar if K23 win 2 out of the next 14 rounds. That just feels like free money. That is money for old rope. I'm pretty sure that's not accurate, though. Like, that cannot be genuine. I'd be very surprised.
Loot bet is like player versus player, isn't it? So it's based off of what people are betting on. And I think when there's massively dominant halves, yeah, but it's I don't think you're against the house. I think you're against the player. So it's lots of people betting on Fate. Clearly, the Bulgarians favouring their chances of maybe pulling back into this one.
Are they?
Maybe. I don't know. We see it sometimes. It's worth having a cheeky bet on here and there when there's a massively dominant first half performance, but I don't think it is here.
Well, they've got to win at least this one, and Han starting things off with a quick headshot of his own. Actually, the tag into Norbury as well doing some significant early damage, but with that bomb going down, it's actually on top of that bomb train as well, in one of the more advanced positions here on the B bomb site. And the AK-47 starting to rattle through for some significant damage. There's the first. And as Fate close in, it might be curtains for the Bulgarians in this first map. There goes the Deagle for one more, but I think this should be the shutdown. A lovely conversion of headshots. 15-2. And Fate need 13 in a row. I'm a little bit superstitious, Jay. They do say 13 is unlucky for some. Maybe it's going to be unlucky for K23 here. Maybe we have some very superstitious bettors out there.
Maybe that explains the odds, I suppose. They're expecting this scoreline and expecting the comeback. I don't see it whatsoever. Full investment here from K23. AKs all round, loads of utility to work with as well. They're just against some pistols and SMGs on the Fate side here. Super aggression from Han. Right up close and personal to A main. Wants to try and take this fight. He's not going to spot out Neil, and this might actually allow him to swing out and find Kado. He's able to do exactly that, but the trade comes through. Neelan not going to be missing that one. Patrick actually lands himself a headshot, keeps this one competitive for Fate as they now have a man advantage. Kia's on the back foot trying to trade it back out. Rocker's got another sight light. This could work out for Fate.
Remember, this is 4 spies until the very end, and with the Deagle trading once again, it's a 1 versus 1 to try and close this map. Mars salvaged an AK of his own, so he will hightail his way into the B bomb site. But as this C4 goes down and away, a flurry of utility to try and bail Neelan out. He's going to head right up the ladder. Mar does connect, and we'll keep this series going a little longer. Fate up to 3. This has to be just a lightning storm of rounds back in their favor if they're even going to make this competitive in the second half, Jay. But there's a start. The first step's always the hardest. But they start this journey back, perhaps. Remember, K23, they'll be applying the pressure all the way through this second half. One mistake, and we're going to overpass.
I don't know, Squid. Comeback might be on the cards.
Comeback.
Might be.
Better seem to think there's a 20% chance of it happening. Can we see the odds again? Are we allowed to put the odds back up? The live odds? I can't get it out of my head now, production.
Yeah, they're still there.
They're still the same. Is this true?
Crazy, crazy stuff. I think K23 honestly close out this round right here. I know Kado's taken a lot of damage.
Oh no, I have been told that they're not valid, so I am right. I'm always right. Been proved right again, Jay. And I think that 20% might have just gone down the toilet at this point. A very powerful performance from K23. Patrick, try to make me eat my words before this comes to a close. Kios does have the back line, but with the Deagle in hand, both of these players low, it's going to take a body shot per player to finish. There's the first, and out in the open, Patrick. Another triple kill to convert it. 15-4. It's getting nice and close, Jay.
I'm not sure about close. I think 11 rounds in a row needed to just take it to overtime isn't really what you want. But this is a big play from Patrick nonetheless. I think at any other time, this would be sort of massively credited. Unfortunately, you just can't hype that up. Like, I don't even think Fate are hyping that up. They're like, oh, good job, Patrick. Like,
yeah,
come on, guys, 11 rounds.
You have to get some feel-good rounds before you end off this map. I don't really buy into the factor that if this is a 15-8 instead of a 15-4, then Fate are going to come in way more confident and it would have any sort of impact in the next map. But let's say that they bring this back to 15-10, 15-11, then they could feel like they have some sort of a chance. It's the taser to find a kill here, but I don't think this is going to do too much for K23. We'll see a 15-5, and Fate, they need to win 10 in a row. Obviously, with the loss bonus now building up, these buys from K23 are going to become more and more frequent. Instead of being stuck in a hard eco cycles, you can get a full buy and a force buy, a full buy and a half buy. You can kind of mix and match it up. A little bit of damage isn't really going to do too much here for Fate. If they lose one round, they're out of the map. So money doesn't really matter. Throw those MP9s away because they don't really matter as of this point. Building up a bank, really is very null and void. You've got to win every single round from here on out. And you really want to maximize your chances against what is going to be a full buy here from K23. And Blocker doing the trick, just binning that MP9. I love to see it.
Absolutely, I'm actually surprised. Well, actually, I suppose it's somewhat viable for Han to stay on that for mass. If he keeps that cash, he can actually buy an AWP in the next if they manage to convert this round. K23 have got the full buy here, but very, very limited utility, so they have to make sure they conserve that, not waste too much of it early on. A promising nade. Doesn't do as much damage as I would have expected. K23 here, I mean, they have so many chances to close this one out. And as you say, for Fate right now, if they bring back a few more rounds and then lose this one, I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. It's just about having a good mentality. Yeah, if you are in this position right now and you're super frustrated, and of course they are going to be frustrated, they've lost their own map pick, but if they let it dwell on them too much, they're just going to have no chance going into Overpass. They're going to be all down in the dumps. Whereas if they kind of pull back a couple of rounds here and say, yeah, do you know what? This map's kind of done. We know we're not going to be able to pull this one back, but let's try and put some rounds on the board, have some big plays, show that we do actually have a decent CT side on train, and then come into Overpass. I think they've got a much better chance with it. Norbert's going to open things up with a very nice headshot onto Nikki as they steamroll onto this A-bomb site.
This is where they have to convert, and they absolutely have done. It's Patrick once again to be the saving grace, but only 2 this time, and it's not good enough. Blocker versus the world. He's going to get taken down, and that is 16-5. I've got to touch on that point of mentality that we just talked about right there. I've got to say that that is one of the more admirable qualities for Fate, is even when they lose, like they lost to 16-4 for opening map last night, they came into the second map of the day, was Train their pick. Very confident. They ended up winning it, taking that series incredibly close. So I feel like mentality issues, from what I've seen, sat here in the commentary booth, doesn't seem to be as big a problem for Fate as it seems to be for a lot of other teams. And that is really impressive, I've got to say, when actually comparing them to a lot of the other teams in this field. I've got to say that that is a very admirable quality, and not something that I could even say about the majority of the teams that we cast. A lot of the time you go down 10-1. Sometimes I see down in the dumps for the entirety of a series. We always talk about these personal little quirks as well, where one player doesn't frag for the first 10 rounds or so, and maybe he never recovers. We saw Blocker the other day on Inferno again, only find 2 or 3 kills in the opening half, and then bounce back with 25 before the map had finished. So I think that mentality just isn't an issue for this Fate side. It definitely could be. We don't see the whole picture. We only see what you guys see at home. So that sort of behind the scenes stuff, we don't really get to patch into their TeamSpeak or Discord. We don't get to hear those comms. But I've got to say that they do seem to be a fairly mentally resilient team. Either way, we're going on to the second map next of this series. It's K23's pick. It's Overpass. So don't go very far, and we'll be back in a sec.
Nice shot. Lock and load. Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. circle fights I've been to.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Eden Arena Malta Vibes. We're here with Week 8 as this series is just getting fired up. A very dominant performance just a few moments ago. K23 taking that one 60-6. Very powerful stuff earlier on. Train, then I go on to their fairly home map of Overpass. To maybe even get things finished off in this series. If you're Fate, I don't think you can be feeling entirely confident about this, but it's not the worst scenario in the world. If they do lose, they go down into that decider match against the other two teams, who I think they're favored against both of them as well. We actually saw them take a very convincing best of one just a little earlier today as well. And I got to say, I love watching Fate play Counter-Strike, so I really wouldn't mind watching another best of 3 today, because me and you, Jay, actually have the pleasure of casting that one a little bit later here on the main broadcast.
Absolutely, yeah. We get to obviously to cast that decider, so if they can make it through, then that would be fantastic. But off of the back of that train loss, I'm not too sure. The thing is we saw this resilience that you talked about at the end of the last game, where actually they went 16-4 down against Galaxy Racer in that series yesterday in the first map. They then bounced right back. They won train so convincingly, and then they just quite couldn't tip it over the edge in the third. The issue is here is that this is their map pick. This is like yesterday they lost 16-4 on Inferno, which was Galaxy Racer's pick. Here it's 16-5 loss on Train, which is arguably their best map. I think if they can take Overpass, then they've definitely got a chance on Dust 2. But if like K23 take Overpass, then this is just a solid 2-0, isn't it?
It absolutely is. That's how the maths pans out. And obviously they go to Dust 2 as that third and final map if we need it. But realistically, that's a very confident map for K23 as well. They left it in the pool for a reason. And I think if Fate had any chance of winning this series, they had to take Train, because now going on to pretty home turf for K23 makes things a lot more difficult for Fate in this series. They started on that T side. Of course, here in the Malta Vibes, it's week 8, so you definitely know the format by now. They play a knife round in every single map. Obviously, if you lose that knife round on a map like Train, it's unfortunate. In other tournaments, they have to start on the T side anyway. If you pick the map, your opponent picks the side. They get fortunate in the fact that they do have that knife round, that Counter-Strike coin flip, but it doesn't really pan out for them nevertheless. So they have to start on that unfavorable T side anyway, which I guess if you are picking it in your home map, you have to be confident on it against a majority of teams. I've got to say, though, Fate have taken such a string of wins on Train. I think it's actually nice and refreshing for them to actually be handed a loss here or there. I know that sounds weird, but they can go back to the drawing board and say to each other, right, what do we do against one of these really high tier opposition? How do we solidify Train as a home map here? Either way, we're getting on to map 2 now. It is Overpass with the knife going live. I'm excited to get back into this one, Jay.
Game, of course, where you said about how Fate have been playing so many matches recently, and they've actually just not been declining any invites. They've been playing in some lower tier stuff. So I don't want to put down any of the wins that they have, because they've definitely been putting up some incredible performances against some really, really top teams. But a lot of these recent wins that they've had on Train have actually been against just a slightly lower caliber of team. So to go against K23 there and take that loss, you're absolutely right in saying that they'll probably go back and have a watch of that one, see where they went wrong and what they can actually do to counter the plays that K23 were pulling out in the future. And just in the pregame as well, the stats actually came up, and we got to see Mo in that last map had a 3.7 KD. I know that it was like a really dominant scoreline, and he played incredibly, but that is absolutely nuts.
And you see those odds, these are definitely right this time, certainly favoring K23. They have to start on this CT half, Jay, so maybe on the back foot to get things started. But realistically, I don't think that they're going to be massively under pressure, knowing that they're a map in hand, and this is almost a free roll into the second, with Dust to a confident map coming out as the third if we even need it here. They have to step up, and it all starts with the pistol. USPS is in hand. 0 defuse kits, though. If this goes to a retake, I think they might be under stress and pressure, but they might not even get there with 4 fast frags. Block is also spotted, and there are the headshots. What a convincing pistol from K23.
Yeah, they've carried all of that momentum across from Train. They've gone straight into Overpass, and they've just absolutely dominated that pistol round, not losing a single player. Fate's idea there, I mean, you don't normally see a CT side not go for a kit at this caliber, but actually, look at the odds changing completely. Straight after that round, a lot of people placing their bets on K23. They are looking hot out the gates right now. Fate, yeah, they just got completely shut down. They didn't go for a kit there. Instead, they tried to stack all the players up to connector. It seemed like somewhat of a counter strat. I think they kind of knew that K23 were going to go for that connector push. You wouldn't otherwise put 3 to 4 players around that area. Either way, they just got completely shut down. Now just down to these Deagles, and for now unable to do significant damage with them as K23 take loads of control over towards long.
This is, of course, another fairly important round for Fate, especially with the Deagles in hand. The force buy into the second obviously becomes slightly more difficult if you lose it, with USPSs in the third and an opportunity for K23 to get that economy bolstered already. The crossfires are in place, and that drops the C4 early. Now the rotates can wrap through, and K23 forced to find these frags, and they are doing the trick. These MAC-10s punching in with the damage. The Deagle's not getting the job done. There's still a pair of pistols at the ready, and with an AK retrieved, both of these K23 players low. This is an opportunity for Fate to get back in the second. AK punches through for even more damage, finally taken out. Now has to defend this bomb at close range. Nicky gets blasted by the AK. That is a second, a saving grace for K23. And I almost cannot believe that they take that one over the top after such heavy preliminary damage dealt. 2-0, still on the winning track. And Fate here, despite doing the damage in that second, they cannot force.
Well, it comes incredibly close. Something that I really liked there was actually when Harm retrieved that AK and they knew his position. Instead of Neelan just facing and taking that aim duel, he kind of jiggle peeked it, knew he was there. And then Mo, who was that low HP player, jumped across with the MAC-10, somewhat as the bait. Harm tried to hit that cross shot, and then the AK just swung and took care of him. Perfectly orchestrated counter-strike, and well, right now, that doesn't need to come into fruition. They can just completely clean up these pistols. I don't think they take a single casualty here. Kios, that's a little bit awkward. There we go. Takes a few more bullets than needed, but Neelan actually finding himself a 4K in that one. 3 rounds go in the favor of K23 now before Fate can buy up. Try and contest this one.
I'm clutching at straws to try and find an advantage for Fate. Of course, they have that AWP, whereas K23 throw in a bonus for this fourth. A couple of MAC-10s here and there. Expect maybe even something fast towards the B bomb site. That usually is the default in a round like this, and with Fate putting almost a null and void defense, and here comes the B take. It's coming down the tracks, Jay. Very fast stuff. The nade actually does connect onto Kado, but they are hot on the CT's heels. The rotate millions of miles away, and Nicky has to hold up the defense on his lonesome. There's a couple of kills, nicely placed, and the damage has already been done. That nade does chip through. Unfortunately, doesn't find the frag, and the rotate is already here. Mo finds another. Both of the CTs in the back line, drops the C4. Low HP for K23 once again.
Han absolutely has to hit this shot. If Kado peeks monster here and Han can't hit this flick, this round becomes very winnable for K23. In fact, Mo, he's right up behind.
He's flanking the
Han's
flank.
not going to expect this at all. Oh, no. This is so fantastic. Oh my goodness, Han actually suspects it somehow. Spins around just at the wrong time. A 2 versus 1 now. Nicky's on 28 HP. He's done so much work this round already. I just don't see him converting this one. If he can find this first kill, then it opens up opportunity. And it exactly does. K23 have no idea where he could be. And he manages to clutch it up for Fate with 4 kills in the round.
That's sensational. I love that positioning from Mo. His favorite stake is the flank, but it doesn't close out the round. Fate with their first, obviously low HP, a pretty routine clutch for Nicky to pull through. If neither player knows that he's stacked towards heaven, there is every opportunity that he finds both of those kills, and he does convert quite nicely. 3-1. Another buy on the board for K23. Remember, that was a bit of a bonus with a couple of MAC-10s in hand. All of the initial damage was dealt. and it still came down to the 1v2 nonetheless. That's a lovely nade as well. Han, by the way, hasn't spotted out anybody yet, and he's already on 31 points of health, unable to get out that AWP. Fate trying to throw through a little bit of aggression. You can certainly tell that they're a little more uneasy on Overpass when you watch them, but nevertheless, they're finding a couple of kills here.
Oh, nice bit of aggression from Nicky early on. Patrick just spots out the player in Monster, but can't do any more than that. And the issue with this last round is, okay, it came very close. Fate managed to tip it over the edge, but that was a bonus round for K23. That was a round that maybe they weren't expecting to lose necessarily, but they didn't mind losing because they kept the MAC-10s. Now going into this one, they've got the full buy, they've got the AWP available on Mo. It's coming a hell of a lot closer than I think they would have hoped. But nonetheless, Mo's powering through. He's found himself 3, brought it into a 2 versus 2 situation. Timing doesn't quite work out with the connector check. Allows opportunity for this flank to come in. Blocker getting flashed off here. He's not actually going to fall off the angle. Instead stays in this smoke. I don't think he tries to deny this bomb plant. I think he actually waits for the flank to come all the way round. But it's taking so much time that surely they anticipate this.
Nobody from K23 watching the rear, and Nilan in the open does flick backwards for that frag. There's the first. And Blocker now put in an awful position without a defuse kit. Needs both of these kills now. There's the first. Knows where Neelan's playing from. Tries to close in, but he's missing all of the shots, Jay. Needs to connect right now, and he actually does. I don't know if he's got enough time on this bomb. No defuse kit. This comes quite close. I think he does have it, though. It's going to be in the last second or so. It is ticking close. He definitely has this one. 2 rounds on the board for Fate. Comes close. Another 1 versus 2. Carried through. And Fate still behind by a round. Let's watch that 1 versus 2 again. This is the kill that really matters, to be honest. Finding that first against the AWP isolates both of these terrorists in the after plant. Closes up the scoreline.
Well, they absolutely need to start finding these kills, in fact, finding these rounds in a more convincing fashion. They're keeping this scoreline competitive for now, but both times it's come down to an individual clutch from a player. Right now, this buy, it's not terrible from Fate. Actually, both teams are on a relatively shabby buy. Patrick just down to that MP9. Limited utility for both sides. A couple of pistols on K23 here. This could be a big reset round for either side. Whoever takes it, the other team will have no money left in the bank to buy into. K23 headed over towards B, where there's Patrick and 2 others patiently waiting to shut it down.
Patrick's coming in with the headshots, but I don't know if it's enough with the MP9. There's another 2, and Patrick has been the MVP for Fate thus far. They definitely do need Blocker and Han to step up, and with an AWP in hand, there's every possibility to do so. Nicky then chimes in from short. A bit of a shutdown on the B bomb site. This is a change of pace, as Nicky converts a second. And that's Fate up to even Stevens. On the CT side, I do think that they need the majority of rounds here on the defense. There's every opportunity that K23 gets the job done with even 6 or 7 rounds on the T side. I think even 5 with a pistol might even be good enough here. I'll go one further. I think an 11-4 half, K23 converts the pistol. They're still fairly 50-50 in this second map. So really does put the pressure on Fate to rack up the rounds, get that economy rolling. This is the time to take a couple of convincing rounds, Jay. The money is fairly low. And realistically, 100 seconds on the board. They just need to prevent these deagles, which sounds easy, but it certainly isn't against K23.
Just with these pistols, of course. I think there's an opportunity for them to get a fair amount of work done here. Fate is looking quite good. Responding with some aggression, which is something that we really didn't see on Train. They looked quite shy, and that's a very bad trait in a team when it comes down to these important rounds, when you're really falling back on your CT side, scared to take those engagements. Here on Overpass, they don't seem to have a problem with it. Even in these buy rounds, Nicky getting up aggressive over towards Fountain. We're seeing aggressive over towards Long as well. Really nice stuff from Fate, especially if they can convert this round with no casualties. It'll allow their bank to build up a little bit too. That's exactly what happens. Mara and Han finish things off. 5 stay alive, so everyone's sitting above the 4K mark going into round number 8. And this now gives us an opportunity to talk about our partners over at Hellcase. Make sure you use code MALTAFEE15 for a 15% refill bonus on your deposit. Make sure you're 18, make sure you gamble responsibly and with your own money. Don't be maxing out your mum's credit card on Hellcase.
Not with my money either.
How would they get hold of that?
Steal my credit card. It's just here on my desk. You spot the little 16 digits during a camera segment. Just don't use those numbers. Use your own digits, folks.
Good life lesson.
That is such a lovely nade stack there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out this time. We talked about the utility usage from K23 way earlier on Mirage in the best of one. There's Molotovs into ladder room just to force players out, and they've got a couple of tricks up their sleeve when it comes to overpass as well. Really do like those nade stacks, especially towards the B-bomb site. You often see that boost get naded completely just to oblivion a lot of the time. I wouldn't be surprised to see K23 try and take advantage of that one. Mar absolutely doesn't know that Keels is holding around this corner. Nevertheless, he hits the shot.
Oh, with more shots coming through, it's very, very back and forth. It's all down to Mo in this last position. A 1 versus 2 becomes very doable if he can land this shot onto Han. It's not going to happen, though. Han in that situation doesn't want to take that close fight with the AWP, knows that it comes down to probably a lucky no-scope, and instead fancies his chances with that Deagle. Tips Fate over the edge, 5-3 now. Actually a massive economic advantage as well. They could take it 6th here with K23 just on this eco. As we go into round number 9, Fate are looking like a much better team on Overpass, which is surprising considering this is their opponent's map pick and they were looking so poor on trade.
And once again here on Overpass, they need to keep these digits rolling if they are going to get to that magical double-digit scoreline that they realistically need. Han's starting to step up here on this second map of the day. I think they need to be joined by all of the building blocks, the likes of Blocker. I think everybody needs to start finding the frags. That's a lovely conversion, some feel-good frags from Mar to finish off the 9th. Putting Fate up to double this scoreline of this K23 side, 6-3. Nothing to really brag about as of yet. They haven't secured a rock-solid half, and as we get through into the rifle rounds, as that loss bonus starts to build up for the terrorists, this is going to increase the frequency of those buys. The AWP comes out from Mo, definitely somebody to be scared of here with the sniper. It might be just a bit of a default here for K23. Instant Molotovs through. Does give away this initial control, but look how aggressive Nicky's getting here. He doesn't dodge the flash, and that's the instant frag found.
A nice headshot converted from Neelan. Gives him that man advantage. Actually tons of damage done to Han as well. So a very, very nice advantage for K23 to take in the opening seconds of this round. Mar's in a difficult situation here because if K23 aggress further into party, he's now trapped. There's a player back in connector watching his door cross, and he'd then be stuck with no support. Instead, K23 are actually headed back over towards B. Han's got a very good angle that I'm almost certain they won't suspect. He might be good for 1 here at least. Norbert's actually going to hard clear it. Han converts the shot nonetheless. Level things back out into a 4-on-4. K23 want to respond here. The flashes are going to go over. It's not actually going to affect either of these two players. And as they charge in, the AK shots are going to convert and tons of damage dealt already.
This is actually a fairly good defense, especially with Mar in the back lines finishing off Mo. There's a nice little combination there. And Fate's teamwork seems to be a lot more solid on this second map. Definitely a shocker. You know what, Jay? This is why they're one of my favorite teams to watch. They can fall completely dead in a map and then show up in back-to-back performances. Remember, we've got that danger zone of Dust 2 coming up next. It's obviously fairly tricky territory for K23 to take these opponents to. They're not winning a lot of rounds on this T side. We did see this from Fate yesterday, though, in the decider. A big lead blundered as we got into that second half. So I want to see Fate close this out convincingly, get to 10, 11, or 12. And then I think they've got a real opportunity to actually get to a third map in this series. And wouldn't that be a performance against K23? They're obviously an incredibly tough side, but they seem to be doing all of the work. And Fate, Overpass, not really a matchup that I make in my head. We obviously see them go to Train, go to Dust 2, but maybe this is a bit of a sleeper agent supplies map. We know that they have played it 23 times in the past 3 months. That is a lot, with a massive win against Nordavind. They've even floated it in series against the likes of Penta, Galaxy Racer, AGF, Vitality, Crazy, Simon. So they are playing this against the best in the West. They've got the high tier practice through, and now that's going to come to avail against this K23 side. Otherwise, they are knocked down into that decided map, Jay, and then it's all to play for once again.
Oh, Nicky getting punished there as well. Bit of a whiff onto Neelan there. Patrick and Hahn trying to get super aggressive here. Hahn misses a key shot, and that might just throw away this round, especially with Norbert on that B side. Patrick's going to grab this AWP, and well, I think he'll go for an initial shot here. If he doesn't connect anything, I think he might just fall back. Instead, surely he gets taken out. Norbert's going to put a bullet clean in his chest. Should be able to retrieve this AWP as well going into round number 12. A nice response from K23. However, as you say, Fate are just looking a lot stronger here. The coordination's fantastic. I love that opening pick as well on Connector, where Hahn's actually in short. He's got his teammate by the door. The teammate just opens it. Hahn pops a shot, and then the door just gets closed again, and that's it. Free kill, no trade potential. Peeks the door to say hello, and then they're gone again. K23 did very, very well to respond and put it down, and now they look to close this gap further, but the Bank of Fate's still very strong as they fully invest again.
Oh, there's that nade stack I was talking about before, Jay. The double nades instantly eliminate blocker, and that's got to sting for the CTs. They've been doing so well at consistently putting together these rounds, and I can already say I want a replay of that after the rounds, because that's my favorite nade stack in the whole of Counter-Strike. It's also incredibly consistent as well. I love it from K23. They hear that squeaky door break, they hear the nades come over the top, and they know exactly what Blocker's doing without seeing him. They know that it's almost a guaranteed frag against Blocker, and there's the conversion. Yes, Hahn finds one in response, but he has to double up the trouble if he's actually going to turn back the tide in this 12th. I just don't see it happening. Closing into the B-bomb site, Patrick, he's got the angle. It's a one-to-one trade, but keeping the numbers lower and lower. K23, the CTs, yes, they have fully rotated over, and the bomb is in no man's land with 30 seconds left. If Mark can find another one, that could have opened things up, but it won't. 5-7, a difference of 2. And this one might even go the distance. You never know at this point. Obviously, the money is a little on the rocks for Fate. It will be a buy round, and here comes that all-important replay. Look at this. Kablam! Blocker's gone. Look how much damage it does to the second man. That boost just gets blasted. And here comes a tactical timeout for K23.
Kablam. That's what noise the nades make.
Kablam! They give them the big bamboozle, the big kablammy.
Big kablammy. I love that. That is actually a fantastic nade stack, though. There's really no faulting that. That boost comes in. It's not something that comes in every single round, but especially on a buy, it's something to expect. So to go for that nade stack puts you at a massive advantage straight off the bat in that round. You'll be very, very happy when that converts. And, well, despite Fate's early efforts and taking this huge lead, it's now round number 13. K23 are within 2. I think there's a good chance of them leveling this one up here as well, considering Fate's economy. Now, Mar's gone for a buy here, which I think is interesting because no one else has bought. He's gone for the buy, and then in the closing seconds of that freeze time, they've actually called another timeout to discuss what they're doing here. Because Blocker hasn't got the money to invest, Patrick hasn't got the money to invest, Nicky and Hahn could maybe go for something here. and they could have a bit of a funky buy. Personally, I'd want to stay around the 2K mark to make sure you can invest into the next.
This is going to be a guaranteed buy. There's no way that Fate save with Ma investing that initial M4A4. Han can get the AWP. I think it's going to be 4 rifles and a deagle for Patrick. And realistically, this is the gamble round. This is where they try and turn the tide in this first half. Either they're going to get the double digits or they're going to bust out of this series. And this is exactly where they have to throw it through. Patrick and MP9 instead of that aforementioned deagle. And here comes the aggressive play from Han. This is nail the shot, or maybe even bust out of the half early. Lovely flashbang forces him off of the angle. Wants to go for that secondary peek, but the cross has already come through. They're inching closer, and there's the headshot. That might just instantly end the round here, unless the M4s can do something devastating to the attack. Mars got a funky angle here. The Molotov's actually going to force him forward instead of back, and into harm's way. 3 K23 members, he's in the open, misses the shots. And that should just end things here, practically for the first half. Fate are going to have either a Force Buy or an Eco in the next, probably an Eco round. That's going to level up the playing field to 7-7. I think the clever option, the smart money is on saving here for Fate.
It's actually looking like what they're going to go for here. Surely they know it's A. There's been loads and loads of noise made. Now we're just going to stay on this B site. Another free round in the bag then for K23. A massive whiff from Mar. That's so unfortunate. When you're in that head angle, there's definitely potential for you to get 1 or 2 frags there. Oh, look at that cinematic. That's awesome. Flip over to the sites.
Someone's got a joystick out. They're just wiggling it about.
Yeah, that's how observers work. They actually have a drone that flies around the map.
It's a real
Got
drone.
their little joystick, yeah.
We talked before on broadcast that a lot of these maps are based on real places. What they should do is have a drone fly about where the actual map is based. I really don't think that that would be a bad idea. Of course, it would just annihilate the budget of basically any tournament. Right, yeah, let's go to Italy. Let's go to America. Let's get a guy with a drone to fly around. Let's spend like 15,000 euros on that, on those drone shots. Basically, remember, you have to go all over the world to like 7 different countries, and they all are like opposite ends of the world as well. You have to go to like the Middle East, go to the US, go to like Southern Europe. You literally have to go all over the board to get it done. I bet it would cost like £20,000 to do.
Yeah, I think that would be our production budget. We just
That would
wouldn't
be
get
my
paid
fee.
anymore.
Gone.
Sorry guys, you're not getting paid. We've done this instead. Or we could cast from these locations.
Yeah,
That'd
hey
be more
Squid,
fun.
right, we're not going to pay you for this tournament, but what we've done with your paycheck, you're going to be really impressed.
I don't know, I'd be quite happy with it. Opportunity to
I
travel.
wouldn't. This is my job, Jay. I've got rent to pay.
Sorry, honey. I'm going away. I'm traveling the world to talk about Counter-Strike. They're not paying me.
So we can't pay the mortgage this week, but we do have some great drone shots.
Well, this round not going all too great for Fate either. They obviously managed to save those weapons, but this in effect is an eco. They've dealt a fair amount of damage early on, but that's not going to be enough. They get completely denied. K23 actually level it up 7-7, and you're absolutely right. We're going to have an 8-7 half on our hands. I wasn't really expecting this after Fate took this early lead. They were looking really strong. I thought there was definitely potential for them to take it to a 9-6, possibly even a 10-5. K23 have done very well to recover, and I'm interested to see what their CT side of Overpass looks like, considering this is their map pick.
The map Picorino. Obviously, this has been a fairly decent T side for K23 and a good opportunity to take the 8th. Nicky's been very aggressive towards the fountain. This time sends his aggression into playground, but losing an initial man, and K23 look very aware of this one. Mo's just watching the angle. Easy frag to find. Should realistically be the half over at this point. 90-second mark. Fate, they will go for the full rotate over towards the A bomb site, only leaving Han towards this side of the map. Well, there's plenty of time on the clock. I don't think this plays in Fate's favorite. makes them sweat. You see K23, they're not moving a muscle right now. They're basically AFKing out of the server, waiting for Fate to make the mistake. And Jay, it is about to come through. Blocker playing fairly aggressive on A long. He's got his way all the way down behind this rock. While with Neelan watching the angle, this should really just finish things. Great headshot.
K23 have actually looked pretty flawless in these last few rounds. It's a shame they couldn't pull this one out earlier. If we saw them doing this maybe just 2 or 3 rounds sooner, they could have had a very, very dominant half. Instead we see it a little bit too late, and best case scenario, they take this one to 8-7. Fantastic positioning from Patrick, denies the plant, but only for a second or two as he gets his head clean ripped off, and actually K23 managed to put their 8th round on the board. So despite this massive early lead from Fate, we go 8-7 at half-time. I mean, what do you say about this? These key players just showing up on this K23 side right at the end. Mo and Neelan, 19-8 and 13-9. Stellar performance from those two guys.
I think that is the key point. It's stellar. And not like the disgusting taking alcohol. Stellar as in just beautiful, brilliant. I only drink cider, Jay. That's pretty much all I go for. Like the occasional shot if I get lured into it. And wow, look at these loot odds. They definitely have switched, but I still favor K23 in this one. There are some very avid Fate fans out there today. I feel like the odds have been very much in their favor since the start. We saw it on Train, supposedly a 20% chance when they had to take 13 rounds in a row. So maybe some people definitely putting a lot of faith in Fate. And realistically, if they're going to win this pistol round, I would say that they're slightly favored. Neelan does have this angle, but in a 5 versus 2 scenario, this really does suck. 90 seconds on the board. Fate can now make this defense sweat. They just have to not make any mistakes. And with the rotate being wrapped off of the A-bomb site, this should really open things up for the terrorists. The C4 can go down. And I don't think that there's a lot that Kios can do about it.
Keel's landing that headshot. Gives them potentially a little bit more to work with, but this has been a very, very solid round from Fate. Not quite a must-win, but definitely a good one for them to take. Allows them to take some early rounds on this T side, and Mar lands a perfect headshot onto Keels. Really, really nice stuff there. Just leaves Neelan in this 1 versus 4. I don't think he has any chance here, especially with no kit, but he might be able to punch in a little bit of damage, boost that KD further. No, it's not going to be the case. Bullet straight in his skull from Nicky. Fate are going to manage to level this one back out, 8-8. A good response off the back of losing a load in a row right at the end of that first half. And hopefully it's the start of better things to come for them if we want to be looking at that Dust 2 third map. Where are you going?
And right now, that is firmly on the cards. Maybe even slightly favourable for Fate. You know how good these T-sides can sometimes be. And remember that Overpass is not just a sweep over map for them. There's a bit of a confidence pick for K23, but after a loss the other day against Wisla Krakow, I don't think that this is out of the question that we go to 3 maps here. That's if Norbert slows down. And right now he's not. Great headshot traded back. And the AK-47 still hold the advantage.
They absolutely do. Damage on Norbert as well makes matters worse. Being unable to retrieve that initial weapon makes things difficult as well. It's always hard when you find that initial pick, and really your lifeline in a round like this is picking up a rifle and doing work with it. That's just not the case here. The only thing they've got to work with is the fact that they've got these deep angles. They're not too far behind enemy lines, but nobody checks this corner from Kios. Maybe this could work if Norbert can draw some attention as well as they push up into toilets. Again, a similar scenario could play out. Still a 4 versus 4 now, though, with 40 seconds on the clock. Fate are taking their sweet time, and there's really an issue here that says, okay, there's not a lot of utility on K23 to try and slow this one down, but that smoke might leave Keels unchecked, and now there's pressure on this bomb plant. If they get onto this site and they just hastily try and go for this plant, Keels could push through and deny it. That's exactly what he's doing, swing straight through the smoke, finds himself one. The conversion shots come through onto Long as well, and he's able to get away almost scot-free. Does get taken down through the smoke by Nicky. The bomb has to be retrieved, and it has to go down in the dying seconds of the round. Nilan's going to charge in to try and deny it, picks up an AK in the meantime, doesn't quite get there in time. But a 1 versus 1 in a round that they had nearly no equity in. There's no way Fate lose this one, and Nicky secures it. Such an important clutch for him to pull off. K23 kept that one so close, all off the back of an incredible shot from Norbert. And then a nice two-piece from Keoz here, keeping them in this one. It's just Blocker and Nicky right at the end, just to tip it over the edge. It's actually going to be an eco from K23 here, so an opportunity for Fate to put themselves onto 10, which would be a fantastic scoreline for them to go for here before K23 can buy up again.
And this is definitely the path back into this series for Fate. If they can get to double digits, which it looks like they certainly will at this point, and carry on rolling through the rifles, get up to 11, 12, start putting a lot of pressure on K23, who realistically haven't had the best of CT sides on Overpass as of late. We know that it's a decent map for them, but definitely not a solid lock. As I said just a couple of moments ago against Wisla Krakow, big loss handed to them to start off the 9-5-3. Now we're over in the Malta vibes. We know that they've got just a massive win rate here on this map. It's just such a large amount. And when you look at it over the last 2 times they've played it, they've racked up the overwhelming majority of rounds, actually taking a 16-5 against Fate. That was earlier in the tournament. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong. Yeah, no, I'm looking at Train. Let's go to Overpass perhaps. Yeah, 5 different takes. That's a complete shutdown. Let's not talk about that one. Times played 5 with a decent CT win percentage, 50-50, slightly higher T win percentage with 3 out of 5 of their last games being wins, double win against Forza in consecutive Overpass performances, win against Kova, but losses against Movistar Riders and Wisla Krakow, as we've mentioned about 3 or 4 times now. So definitely not the most solid lock of maps, but the AA WP setup might be able to turn the tide in this second side.
Mo got quite an aggressive standpoint. This could be dangerous if the support isn't consistent from Norbert here. For now, it's here, though. Just has to be wary of Nicky and Mar coming in from Connector as he peeks down, spots out the head. He has to fall back here, and off of the back of him falling, Mo has to fall as well. He can't stay in that position. There's no support, there's no trade potential. Norbert has to get himself into toilets here. They've actually got a nice little setup with this kind of crossfire. Mo might be able to find himself one onto Connector. That smoke's actually going to come in and completely deny that sight line. Gives Fate a lot of legroom to work with. They're not even committing to A. It's actually looking like they're headed over towards B, but just by applying this pressure on the A bomb site and throwing those smokes, it means that they could potentially have so much control, and that keeps 3 players on K23 busy for now. Finally, we see a rotation coming through for Nilan. He might get there just in time before the Fate execute.
Down to 40 seconds. Fate letting this clock run low, and well, there goes the flank. Instantly taken out. Now the AWP up close. He's fired both of these shots. Mo steps up to the task. Opens up the B-bomb site now with a secondary frag, but with the crossfire in place, and the AWP is here too. This is a second sniper to find a double kill. Han now has to get the job done. A 1 versus 3, and Neelan's gonna end things. The AWP is up for grabs. There's the 9th. And K23 back to winning ways. Look like it all might fall apart here, Jay, after that first frag comes through. But doubles from the snipers puts K23 back on the board.
Those AWPs were absolutely phenomenal in that round. You talk about the double AWP setup at the start of the round, saying, oh yeah, this could work out for them. And it absolutely does. 2 kills apiece. And 2 fantastic shots for them to hit as well. Really key kills. Opens things up. Actually closes this gap, in fact, for K23. Only 1 needed now to not necessarily break the bank of Fate, but definitely put it back to 10-10. They'll certainly be on a buy in the next round after this one. Not sure about Blocker, though. I'm actually not sure if he's meant to go for this investment. This is quite a bizarre one. Either way, they're going to go for this B-side push, charging straight through this smoke. Kios is going to be there to deny it. Norbert's there to find one as well onto short, and Kios has to take the close fights, but he doesn't care. He can use that AWP at close range, long range. He's going to take you out regardless. Mo finds the last as well, and K23 level things up 10-10 right now. And I'm not sure about this buy from Fate. Blocker bought an AK in the last round. That means he's got no money to invest here. Look at these shots again from Kios. Fantastic work.
That is so sickening. When you look at those shots from Kios and you remember that he's not even the primary AWPer on this squad, how scared do you have to be in this second map? I'd be quaking in my boots. 10-10 on the board. The money, as you just mentioned, Jay, absolutely crushed. It's an opportunity for K23 to get ahead once again.
The issue is that they could have bought here. Had Blocker not invested last round, they could have bought. They could have had a really healthy buy here. Instead, I don't know what they go for. I think they probably just go for some pistols. I doubt they fully invest into this one, but that allows K23 an opportunity to actually pull ahead. That's looking like that's going to be the case. For now, no one has bought other than Mar. I assume they're going to buy in like the last second, just because this is what seems to happen. I think they're still discussing it. There we go. A couple of pistols come out. Is this... No, I think it's going to be a reset round. This is going to be a reset round. We might still be plagued with tech problems. We had 1 on train. It was resolved pretty quickly. Hopefully we see the same here on Overpass.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a plague as of this point. I'd call it more of a... It's not even really a little epidemic. It's just like one kid getting the chicken pox. Eat up a tactical timeout. Of course, if you don't want to eat into those tacks, you can take that existence style pause, just sit in the T-spawn, have a discussion for a minute or so, and go for the push into one of these bomb sites. I'm going to say it on air, Jay, the most annoying bug in Counter-Strike for me is the magically floating stickers in the sky. We saw it a little bit earlier. I swear that bug has been in the game for 4 years since stickers were first released, and nobody's fixed it yet.
That's like a super easy fix as well. Just
are we sure
really
about that?
typical of
I'm pretty
Valve.
sure if it was a super easy fix, like the professional, like best in the world developers would have probably done it.
I don't know, maybe. It's
I don't
quite
know
typical
much
of
about
Valve.
coding, but I'm pretty sure Valve do.
Maybe it's super hard. No one's ever cracked it. It's like the Enigma code. No one's cracked it. No one knows how to do it.
There must be something to it that I don't understand. Like, I'll be honest, there's many things in the world that I don't understand. Why people eat toast. Don't understand that. Why would you do it to yourself?
That's good. There's a team of people at Valve working around the clock trying to fix this sticker bug.
Trying to work out how to make
priority.
toast nice. I'll tell you how to make toast nice. And I don't think I've said this on broadcast before, but what you do is you wait for you toast the toast. You then wait for it to cool down before you put the butter on it. So then the butter doesn't melt on the toast, and then you eat it like that. So you get crunchy toast, but cold butter. It's so good, very underrated, and we call that cold toast in my house.
Cold toast. Right. I'll have to give it a try.
It's actually amazing. You'll just be startled with how much better it is.
Right, well, I look forward to it. For now, these pistols from Fate actually doing a fair amount of damage. I really counted them out of this round. With this wall of smokes, they might actually get the plant down here. That nade's going to do tons of damage, but not quite finish Mar. Unless they've retrieved an orb. They've actually got a hell of a lifeline here.
Blocker is going for even more. That flashbang is going to render him completely blinded. Forced back here, as I think this is just going to be a bit of a ninja. There go the smokes towards long, and on this bomb site, Blocker misses the first shot right onto the defuse. There is a kit in action, and Kios, he's here to hold down the line. Nobody finds that diffuser.
What?
And what was that last shot from Kios? Let's see that again. That is unbelievable. That was right through the smoke. Look at this. Blink and you miss it. This second shot, it's incredible.
That is actually just one of those kind of blind fire 1 in a millions. We get to watch it again. Bang! Ridiculous flick. It actually goes through something as well because it's a wall bang, so it must have gone through like the corner of the wall there. That is mental. Obviously that second frag not being as so impactful, but the first actually takes the AWP away from Fate as well that Blocker had saved. That ends up being real costly. They kept it very, very close considering it was just the pistol buy. We missed it. We were talking about Toast. We caught the action right at the end though in K23. What an incredible way to tip that over. Oh, a round ahead, K23 now sit. Another pause comes through. Actually, just as I say it, I eat my words, and they unpause comes through. They are going to buy up here. I think Han almost certainly buys up an AWP. He's got 7k in the bank. We have seen him miss a few key shots, but all in all, throughout this series, he's been pretty consistent with it. And I think that he really needs to step up with this AWP in the later rounds as well of this game, just to get this one over the edge. Send it home for Fate. Of course, they're a round down. We're now on round 22. I'd certainly consider this the dying moments of this game. And if Fate lose this one, it's a 2-0. That's all over. No more chances. If K23 lose it, they've obviously got another chance over on the final map of Dust 2. They just have to make sure they convert these shots, and it's hard to find the first. Such an impactful player. Goes for a lucky shot through the ward as well. Not quite going to connect it. It's K23, a man down now. That door's actually been blown off, so a massive sight line. Potential for them to cut them off if they do go for connector here. Norbert going to peek into a player. There's actually 4 there. Doesn't quite realise it. We'll relay that information, and K23 can fall right back here.
This is certainly a pivotal round, and losing the first defender is definitely a problem maker with 45 seconds left. Hightailing the way towards long. Mo, an open opportunity. There goes Hans AWP, a big player to lose in the second shot. Mo, he's getting the work done. Mar also falls. That is a perfect flash to draw the scoreline level. With that Molotov out in the open, Patrick's going to respond in kind. But here comes the flank, Nicky. Oh, he's going to take 2 bullets between the eyeballs. And now Blocker wants to rally into this one once again. He's got 10 seconds left on the board. There's a first frag, but with 2 HP, cannot move through this Molotov. Oh, that's risky. Needs to find this frag right now. Grabbing the bombs, not going to get the job done. And with Kato backtracking, that's a 12th for K23.
Well, that AWP being saved might do some work if he drops it over to Han. The issue is that he then gets no money for that round saving after time. Some fantastic shots coming in from Mo here as well. Really just secures that one for K23. It wasn't quite a must-win round for Fate. We're not at that point yet where they have to tip it over the edge, otherwise K23 are in the clear. But it was one of those rounds that would count as a swing round, I'd say. If they can win it, they level things up. There's potential for them to take the lead again. Now that they've lost it, they're on a real sketchy buy, and if they can't convert it, K23, they're then 3 away from closing this one out. Fate's money is still being pieces. Norbert finding this opening pick as well, looking for the second, actually able to convert it. This is pretty sealed again, so early on.
This really rocks for K23. Han, yes, he's got an AWP and a retrieved AK in the hands of Nicky. But how do they get into one of these bomb sites? This could be the key mistake. Kato, he's going to drop. Obviously drops an unretrievable rifle. And with the AWP holding clear, just shows how confident Keels really is. Misses the shot this time. Even the leg would have found the frag with Han down to half HP. Backtracking towards this A-bomb site once again. Remember, Han doesn't have the C4 here, so he has to be rejoining Nikki at this side of the map and trying to open things up once again. Heading towards long is probably his best bet. But I think that Fate need to rely on K23 making a couple of mistakes here. Maybe another jump peek would have got it done, but I think if the information is given, that flashbang pretty much signals that it was. This one should be very over, especially with that kill coming in. Han probably just wants to backtrack with the AWP. The money is going to be polarized once again. I think Fate have enough money to go for a pretty scrappy buy in the 24th, but again, it will be a dilemma, likely even a tactical pause. One thing that I really do like about Fate when they're under pressure, they're not afraid or embarrassed to take these tacks. Gives them a little bit of extra time to discuss these, and well, I don't see any way that this isn't going to be a buy here for Fate.
With that AWP behind it, it's definitely viable. I think if Han doesn't save there, it leads this question of there's no AWP available, what can you realistically pull out? Actually, they're able to pull out a fair amount. AK's all round the AWP on Han as well. This is effectively going to be a full buy just with fairly limited utility. It's not terrible though, might just be sufficient. On a map like Overpass, it's quite util heavy. But you can also rely on that AWPer to find those opening picks instead. And they now know his position. Nice bit of aggression from Norbert, something we haven't seen in quite a few rounds from him. Gives him a nice standpoint. Loads and loads of control over towards Fountain. He knows that no one's pushed up. In the meantime, Fate are trying to take control of this B short area.
Series has had a little bit of everything. The massive frags, a little bit of toast. And right now, K23 starting to punch in the numbers. Keels once again, almost 3 kills. There's the conversion, blocker gone. And this should be a very sealed deal to put K23 onto 13, now 14. Keels secures it with a massive quad kill right there. What a beautiful just combination of frags, especially that third onto, I think, blocker. This one, pretty standard shot onto Han, but these flicks, the first could have certainly connected. That one definitely did. And Ma was toast in this scenario. Look how fast that frag comes through. And as I said before, Keels isn't even the primary AWPer of this K23 side.
That's some seriously skilled stuff. Fate, they're charging in real quick here. For now, they're going to be shut down. Kado finds himself 2 through that smoke. Tons of damage onto Patrick as well, as Neelan's able to finish him off. And the last 2, well, they know that if they walk through here, they'll probably get their heads ripped off. That's exactly what's going to happen. Neelan good for one more. Can he get the second? Not quite, but the reload comes through. And Mo's going to convert it. Kios is doing such incredible work with this AWP. I touched upon this when we were over on Train, where Mo had that AWP and they had plenty of money for a double AWP setup, and they didn't actually opt for it at all. Pretty much every single round, they had tons of money on Train, and they just stuck with that single AWP. And I said, well, I'm not sure who on this K23 side would step up and actually play that secondary AWP role, because Mo's just that standout, fantastic primary AWPer, and Keels seems to have done it here. Not the man I necessarily would have expected to step up to it, and he has been doing fantastically. So many rounds, he's been getting incredible multi-kills, and now as we come into potentially the final round, super aggression from K23 to kick things off.
The replay operator has certainly been earning his money, this map especially. Pretty much a highlight reel every single round. That's another meaty headshot. But Fate need 5 in a row here. What a spray down to eliminate the first, and they've still not dealt with Kado. Lots and lots of kills. That does render the B defense null and void. Nevertheless, this will be a 3 versus 3 retake. Double AWPs on the aggression might be the difference maker here. And neither of those AWPs are actually coming through for the flank. So one of these prods will be just snipers. Makes things a lot more difficult for K23 here. I think savings out of the question, considering they're on pretty much, well, just so much money. That's a lovely bait, though. I don't know if Kiel spots his second angle. It's a no-scope. Just about whiffs. Wants to go for the secondary shot, and there go the AWPs. Norber's the last on this aggression from the back angle, and I think he's been spotted out. Certainly has at this point. Nice headshot from Hahn. Closes up the scoreline a little bit. 15-11. Another replay. I said he's been earning his money, Jay. He's been pressing the button every round, and with good reason as well. These have been just sensational combinations. Could have been 3 kills.
Yeah, that was so bizarre as well. They knew Kado was there, and they tagged him up super low, but then as they both came out of short, they looked the other way, so Kado just swung out and got himself another free kill. He was super low in that scenario, and they should have just been able to trade it 1 for 1. Instead, he goes 2 for 1, and well, it definitely kept the dream alive for K23. Norbert again utilizing this aggression. Previously, he hasn't been able to do a whole lot with it as they haven't been pushing into Fountain. This time, he's able to find 2. The AWP from Kios gets super aggressive. It is punished from Hahn. Now we level things back out into a 3-on-3 again. This time, no double AWP setup. And actually, K23 retained the site as well, but Nicky still doing damage.
Now another opportunity to get on to 12. There go the Molotovs over the top. With Kado and Neelan watching and waiting for the action to come through to the A-bomb site, I think that this prod towards B might be massively impactful. Hahn's got the AWP at the ready, and Kate's actually sitting in the worst angle right now. Another 1 versus 3 scenario for him. Big round from Norbert just wasn't good enough here. And realistically, this isn't just 12 for Fate, but they've now broken the economy, which allows them to get onto 13, 14, and try and contest this second map. Get it to OT, perhaps. They now need 3 in a row.
It's absolutely doable, especially with the broken bank of K23. I'm really surprised they lose this. Off of that aggression from Norbert, I'm surprised that with that smoke still up, he doesn't just fall off after those 2 kills. Obviously, the only thing that really got him those initial 2 was the flashbang, and as soon as that flash wears off, it's almost guaranteed he's going to get traded. So a little bit greedy from him there, then a little bit greedy from Kios to actually get aggressive up long as well, and that's what really cost it for them. He could have fallen back there. Had he survived, he could have then had a 5 versus 3 situation for his team to clutch up. Instead, he over-aggresses, Kios over-aggresses, and then they're left in, well, what is a 3 versus 3? Blocker, he hears the sound cue, rips the head clean off of Neelan. No potential for that boost to come through on this eco. I don't think they're going to find any kills here, just get completely mowed down.
Blocker doing what he does best. Quick conversion, all 3 frags. Norbert maybe the opportunity to find a quick headshot, and well, there we go. I think he must have heard Mar there. That's not just a predictive shot.
Such an incredible read. Literally had the crosshair on the head through the wall when he went for that pre-fire. That is like, what is it that like dolphins have? That super hearing.
Yeah, they like supersonic. They can like trace you through the water.
Yeah,
People
that's what
think
Norbert
dolphins
has.
are really cute, but they're like trained killers. They lure you in with all of that. I guess that's seals, isn't it? They don't make that noise.
Yeah, that's seals. I think dolphins make a funky sound as well. It's actually echolocation as well, I just remembered.
They go.
That's what it is. That's a good dolphin impression. Well, this is really the must-win round, isn't it? For both sides, I suppose. If Fate convert it, they have a good chance of leveling it up. If K23 convert it, then we're not going to a 3rd map. Let's see how this one plays out. No super aggression from K23 this time around. Instead, they go for a funky boost on the B site. With that door blown off, they've actually got a really nice sight line.
Oh, you actually see Fate go for that same nade stack that K23 threw into place last round, and it seems to be always isolated off that squeaky door being popped open. Blocker calls it. He says, guys, they've broken Squeaky. They're probably on that boost. Unfortunately for Fate, K23 throw another boost into effect, and the nades, are they actually effective nonetheless? I guess Cade's down to 20 HP, but I didn't quite see how that damage was dealt. And I guess he is on the B-bomb site, so maybe those nades did connect. Did they?
Yeah, it was actually the grenades. Obviously, in the scenario, if they were on that standard boost,
Oh, okay, so he got hit through that monster smoke, and that might have just done the initial damage onto this B bomb site where Kios, without his trusty AWP, had to hold it up, and unable to do so. Overtime now firmly on the cards, as Fate are looking to not quite finish, but close the gap once more. K23 desperately have to cling on to these rifles before round number 30. The AWPM4 combination will literally be all they have to work with. And Han says no. He shuts another down in a way. Norba versus the world here. And this bomb, it's only half ticked. They're closing in on his position. And how does he survive this one? If anybody makes a claim into playground here, I'm pretty sure he is gonzo here in the 29th. And well, here goes the swing. There's more where that came from. His Han should be looking for this frag. They wipe out this CT side.
I certainly wasn't expecting Fate to keep this so close in contention. K23, they were, what, 15-10 up? They had an opportunity to close it out there, and it came down to a 1v1. Now, Fate have managed to pull it all the way back. We're going the full distance. It's a full 30 rounds, and it could be more if Fate can convert it. They're against a very, very shaky buy from K23. A scout, some SMGs, a FAMAS on Norba is all they have to work with, facing up against a riled up Fate side with all the tools. This boost comes in again. I'd like to see this one work, but I think for now, no one's going to head to connector. They might just get caught out if they peek from short.
They have absolutely no map control right now. They're almost committed into the B bomb site where there are 3 defenders from K23. This will all come down to hitting the shots. You see that aggressive prong from Norba as well from behind. 4 out of these 5 players are on this B bomb site, and they are, because this stack, this boost is still in full effect. Norba misses the first shot. That might have been key. There's the headshot to convert, and now K23 can turtle down. I don't think there's a way back out of this for Fate. Maybe they go through connector and back to the A bomb site, but maybe they're fully committed. And here come the smokes. Nade tries to clatter onto Cade, try and trade through these smokes, but neither player doing damage. 40 seconds left. The smoke replaced. And to 40. As Fate, where do they go here? Yes, they've got long control. Nicky's finally salvaged that, so it might be back to basics. And to challenge this A-bomb site, but Mo's ready and waiting. That's the opening headshot. Maybe Fate know that this is the only member on the defense, but as the rotate runs on through, Mo challenged. There's the headshot. A beautiful Molotov forces them onto Optimus. This is where they have to get this bomb down and clear. The AK's just covering this site right now, but it's a retake and a 3 versus 3. Shots
well, the
once
shots
again.
need to come through. Oh, no.
Oh, no. This is all falling apart, Jay. I'm pretty sure this might be over. Han has to pull a masterclass, and it's not going to happen. 16-14, and K23 somehow take it over the top. Wow.